Hey guys, welcome back. Actually, welcome to episode 2. Today you're going to learn ReCap. ReCap is one of those effects that are just visually fun to do. It's where you have an empty bottle without a lid, and all you have to do is give a little shake, and you can see that lid just appears right back on. So if you guys are ready to learn this, stick around. I can't wait to show you. Okay, so let's get into how it works, everything like that. This is one of those simple, easy tricks, guys. It's more visual and fun, but once you figure out the method, you're like, huh, really? But yeah, it's one of those things that you probably guessed it. This is what it's gonna look like. You're gonna have an empty bottle, you're just gonna give it a little shake, and that bottle cap's just gonna appear right back on. But if you look, it's only half of a bottle cap. So a lot of you might have guessed it already. Some of you might have been like, oh, duh. It's one of those tricks, like I said, I came up with it and I published it almost around nine years ago, I think it is. But yeah, it's just visually fun, and that's all the gimmick is going to be. So we can go into the construction of it, but it's literally just cutting a bottle cap in half. So let's kind of go into it, and I'll kind of just show you different things that I use it for. Alright guys, so the construction of this is going to be fairly easy. Now, if you guys are concerned about using sharp scissors, just have someone help you. You can use an X-Acto knife, but a lot of these bottle caps you can literally just cut through with some scissors. Now, the bottle caps that I prefer are actually, they're not that tough. They're kind of really flimsy. You can kind of just squish them in your hand, and it just comes from your standard water bottles that you buy like at Walmart or Sam's Club. The cheaper they are, the cheaper plastic lids you get, which are easier to use. So for this, just kind of use whatever you have laying around. The best part is that they're caps. So as long as you do this and you have this principle applied, you can do it on more than water bottles. You can do it on Gatorade, etc. Beer bottles, any bottle there that you can cut that thing in half. You can give that illusion that it's off. So now, of course, all you're gonna need is some scissors and then just a bottle cap. Now, what I like to do first is kind of go through the top. So I have this, on the smooth side down, and then I'm really getting into the groove for that first cut. Now, kind of be careful because your thumb's gonna be right there. You're gonna be right next to that blade. This is kind of a weird object to cut through. If you feel more comfortable, you can go ahead and just use an X-Acto knife and just cut right down the middle. It might be easier for you, but for purposes, I'll just go ahead and show you what I used. So simply, you're just gonna go ahead and make a cut. Now, it's not gonna cut really fast because there's that groove, and you have to get over this first hump to get a solid straight line through it. So just kind of work with it, tilt it back a little bit, bring it in, and you'll notice it'll eventually just kind of pop through. And all we're gonna do is kind of just cut right in the middle, and that's it. We might have a little bit of work to do just to kind of touch up and clean up some things, but essentially you're just looking at a half of the cap now. And the best part is that this thing will still thread on without a problem. So you can still thread it on. It's not gonna fall off or anything. But for explanation purposes, I'm gonna go ahead and use a blue one, just so you guys can see it a lot easier. It's essentially the same thing here. Originally, I actually burrowed out that middle portion just because I was concerned that you would see it when it's not supposed to be there. So this is what I mean. So originally, I had this burrowed out, so it was just gonna be this that's showing. So it's kind of sensitive on the angles then that way, because you only need this to show and then that to show. And that's essentially everything you're gonna be doing. It's just twisting your wrist to turn around and expose that bottle cap. Now, with this being on top like that, we're gonna go into some handlings and just show you how to get real comfortable with it. Okay, so different handlings depending on what you want to go for here. The original method is just going to go ahead and just give a little shake, and you can see that appear on top. That's great within itself. You can go from there and say thank you, but if you are performing this for people, you want to do it one-on-one. You don't want to do something where you're obviously surrounded, because there's a lot of things that are happening here if you're off just by a little bit. So this trick is really great for social media, but it also plays really well for just one-on-one interaction. So if you're doing a close-up performance and things like that, it's good for that. Other than that, I really wouldn't recommend it for anyone else that's going to be around, because if they see just a little glimpse of that blue, kind of gives away the whole trick. So play your angles. Also, if you wanted to just leave it at that, like I said, that is great. But once in a blue moon, you're going to get those people that are like, I want to see that right now, show me that cap. And that's where the second step will kind of teach you. It's a little more advanced, but it's not as tricky as you think. With a little bit of practice, you'll be able to pull it off no problem. So let's go ahead and get into that second handling, and I'll kind of break down that first one for you as well. Okay, so advanced handling. This is something where if you have a spectator that really wants to check out the cap and bottle at the end, this is going to allow it to do that. It really depends on what you guys want to go for, if you want to learn this or not. Otherwise, just use those two handlings, those basic ones, and call it a day, and just fit it in your repertoire somewhere. If you want to take it a little more, advanced handling, this will allow you to go ahead and hand out everything at the end. All you're going to need is one duplicate of the cap that you're using, and you're going to learn how to finger palm just a little bit. So right now, I'm moving my hand around as if there's nothing in it. I don't want to bring attention to this hand and let anyone know that there's a cap just hanging out in there waiting to be dumped, okay? So it's one of those things that the advanced handling calls for basically a holdout of the cap. And that's something I want you guys to practice and not rush into. So if you are advanced a little bit already and you're checking out this method, you kind of understand my lingo. If not, please kind of look into other techniques, coin magic, that allows you to hold things freely in your hand. But that's simple as that. Is it basically you want to take this extra cap, put it between your ring and your pinky, because when you unscrew a cap, some people just use their fingertips, some people use their whole hand. In this case, I wanted to mimic that I'm using just my fingertips, and that's why I can hold something with these two. So still, if I go to unscrew it, nothing looks unnatural, and that's what I always try to go for. Make everything look natural. So we're here, we shake. Now, if someone wants to check this out, what would you have to do? You would have to unscrew it, right? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hide this as we come up, and we're gonna unscrew. Okay? We're gonna hold it and we're gonna twist the bottle, not the actual cap. So this stays forward, this doesn't move. So now we twist the bottle underneath it, and I'm left with that gimmick. From there, I'm gonna hand them the bottle. They grab the bottle, and then they're gonna hold out their other hand. And this is what's gonna happen. I'm going to drop this small one in my hand, and I'm going to give them the actual bottle cap, okay, the full one. While this hand is just going to go down south there, but it's doing the same thing as this other one did. It's just going to be taking that piece after you unscrew it, okay? It's unscrewed, just like that. But let's kind of put it together here. So I have this in finger palm with under these two here, because I'm going to be unscrewing, and that's the natural way to unscrew lid. So it looks something like this. We have the bottle here. We give a little flick, it appears. You come over, you twist the bottle to unscrew it. Okay, this goes to them. This comes back and dumps the real one into the hand. So all the heat's on this cap of the bottle. They're not going to think that you have a little small cap going over here and just going into your pocket while they're looking at everything. So use that to your advantage. Let them check out those objects you just placed in their hands, because they're really going to be focused on those. That's really the advanced handling. I stress, practice before you do that, because of course if you're not comfortable with the transitions of palming it and then giving it to the spectator while still palming it, that's where you have to practice. Other than that, please use those first two methods to get those visualizations, and they will still have the same effect on them. Alright everyone, so that's it. That was ReCap. It's just something visual and fun to do. It's kind of one of those offbeat moments, You don't really want to show a whole bunch of people. It's just one of those things where it's like, hey buddy, bam, and just kind of show it to them and then kind of walk away. It's one of those things, or even on social media, it's great for that. It's just pure eye candy. But practice those angles, However you guys want to perform it, feel free. But just make sure you practice those angles. Of course, you don't want to get caught. You just want their mind to be blown. So work on that, have fun with it. We'll see you soon for episode 3. But guys, don't miss out on anything. Make sure you guys subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Leave some comments for me too. But once again, it's been a pleasure teaching you guys this year. Stay tuned for episode 3, but we'll see you next time. Bye.